Yes, sir.
Good evening. It's time to call our September 3rd, 2024 Ward County Board of Education meeting to order. First order of business is our Pledge of Allegiance, and we do have our fabulous high school principal with us, and she's going to lead us in the pledge.
Fabulous.
Wonderful. Always fabulous. No. Well, the best ones.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Okay, we're down to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Okay, looking at the latest version or final version, we have numbers in our finance for invoices, transfers, and supplements. There was a slight change under number one, under resignations, that it's the girls' assistant basketball coach. On the original agenda said head coach. And then number 9, we have a new name added as a substitute teacher. And then under new business, we have 3 new volunteers and chaperones have been added to the list. Did I miss anything? Any questions about any of those changes? Motion to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, YLA sponsor information. Mr. McCown.
So I was sent an email from Rebecca McCloy. She is the new YLA sponsor. And as you probably know, Angie D'Amico Cox did that probably for the past 20 years prior to that. But she asked a question if there was a salary supplement or extracurricular contract with that. And I looked and there was not. So I asked Mrs. Smith to come and share a little bit with you about what all that does. And if it's the will of the board, I would like to bring that back at a later board meeting to ask the board to authorize an extracurricular for that, because there is one for FFA and there's one for FBLA. And this, as Dottie is going to share with you, this sponsor does a lot.
Good evening. As Mr. McCown said, Ms. McCloy has, when Angie was sponsor, helped Angie with YLA, and she was also a member while she was in high school and participated in all of these events that she now has our YLA students participate in. As you all know, Ms. McCloy is dedicated not only to her ELA students, but to all of our students in Wirt County. And I am requesting that the board at some point authorize a stipend for the YLA, which stands for the Youth Leadership Association at Wirt County High School. As Mr. McCown mentioned, some of our other larger clubs also receive stipends, and that is due in fact to the part that it is co-curricular and part of their contract. Just to share with you, as the leader of YLA, Ms. McCloy spent over 130 hours of her own personal time that she logged last year just with activities. Those were service-based, as well as trying to raise funds to help pay for these students to attend YLA camp that was held. And these students put in a lot of time and effort along with Ms. McCloy. In the last year, Ms. McCloy, like I said, spent well over 130 hours of her personal time, and this is outside of the school day, sponsoring these activities. One of the things that I think that her group is most proud of is partnering with the Elizabeth Care Center and as well as some of the other groups did. And we spent a lot of time as a high school with activities and community service hours with those residents. And it is so powerful just to watch those students interact with those seniors that are there. While many of YLA activities are volunteer-based, the part that makes this co-curricular is that there is a government component of the club. Every spring, the YLA chapter travels to Charleston to be part of the delegation to participate in the Youth in Government event. Work County High School has students who write bills and briefs to present at this event, and they also serve as many different positions as they can while there. Some of them serve as pages, some of them serve as, what do they call it, the high judge or whatever it is they call it. I'm not real sure what they call it, but we have had students in the past participate in many different aspects of this piece of it. As I said, this in turn makes our club co-curricular because of that component. Not only do these students meet civic standards in their preparation for this event, they also meet many writing standards, which makes Ms. McCloy a very good candidate for this. While Ms. McCloy helps her students achieve their goals, she would appreciate a stipend in return for the many personal hours that she dedicates not only to this club, but to the betterment of our students. And at this time, I'll entertain any questions.
Darnie, do we have, at the high school, we have FFA, FBLA, and I still call it.
Right.
Are there any other groups that we can expect after this that might come forward that have a large amount of students? Because these,
Right.
probably within these three groups, probably 70% of our students are in these three groups.
Absolutely. You know, it is nothing for FFA to have 100 and some members. YLA has a good, solid 25 to 30 members at their club meetings. And then FBLA, anywhere from 75 to 100. And that's pretty much our school. And then we have some other clubs we have that kids are also silent members of. They have Fellowship of Christian Athletes. They have board games, but all of our students, we require them to choose a club, and they meet one time a month just for social interaction.
But these are the big three.
Those are the big three.
The co-curriculum.
Yes.
Mr. McCallum or Karen, what are we paying FBLA and FFA?
I think FBLA is 1,000. I didn't look up FFA.
I think it's 1,000 or 1,200.
Okay. And it's a little even bit, it's more than what FBLA is, so we're probably looking at some about $1,000.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yep, so for the, would you consider the YLA as similar responsibilities as the FBLA? Are
I
they
would, in
equivalent
that they
level?
compete, they stay overnight, they both do service activities. The only thing is that YLA, like I said, is service-based and is not tied to any particular content area, whereas FBLA is tied to business, FFA is tied to ag.
Thank you, Dottie.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Mr. McCallum, if you would, if you'll put this on our next board meeting, and we'll have a discussion of it at that time.
Absolutely.
But if we want to do it with $1,000, I don't want to call it stipends, $1,000.
Extracurricular contract, yep.
And then we'll go into depth and talk about it. Okay, is that fine with all, any board members have? Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Mrs. Smith.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're down, no delegations tonight, so we're down to agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda of the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting?
So moved.
Any corrections, comments, questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Down to finance. Need a motion to approve the payment of invoices amount of $200,908.10.
So moved.
Mr. McKelvey.
Okay, we have 5 runs of expenditures for your consideration this evening. The first on 9/4/2024 in the amount of $5,567.06 is solely PEIA insurance billings. The second on 9/9/2024 in the amount of $10,000 is solely the UMR dental vision insurance. Then on 9/17/2024, we have expenditures totaling $59,499.57. This is primarily P-card for food service with Gordon Foods. Then also on 9/17/2024 in the amount of $63,054.87. This is primarily utility bills. And then finally, also on 9/17/2024 in the amount of $62,786.60. In here, we have our Huddle sports camera systems. We've got Vector Solutions that provides our Safe Schools training. We've got Wirt County Health Services for suicide training materials and some various and sundry travel in there for some different folks. All these 5 runs of expenditures total $200,908.10.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the payment of invoices amount of $200,908.10. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to budget transfers. Need a motion to approve budget transfers in the amount of $109,485.09.
So moved.
Mr. McKelvey.
So this whole amount, $109,485.09, is transfer of federal projects to align with us closing out these federal books at the end of September.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the budget transfers in the amount of $109,485.09. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Need a motion to approve budget supplements in the amount of $522,062.55.
So moved.
So likewise, as we wrap up the fiscal year for our federal dollars, we have $522,062.55 of carryover to be added into the next year's budget.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the budget supplements in the amount of $522,062.55. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve the annual financial report for FY 2024.
So moved.
I will defer that to Mrs. Cummings. She has been working diligently on this.
You're up.
My turn, huh? No one wants to handle all these numbers. Okay, so our annual financial report. So tonight I've given to you basically the bare minimum because I still have a long ways to go. And this 1 week of moving up the board meeting date, it like threw me for a loop. So you have the bare minimum. And this is the most important set of financials is what I have prepared for you tonight. Now, in addition to that, I have to do schedule of notes and budget comparison schedules, and also the second set of financials, which is prepared on Governmental Accounting Standards Board, GASB, and it incorporates depreciation, dealing with OPEB and retirement actuarial reports. So that's the other set of financials that they make us do, and we're really not sure where all those numbers go or what they do with them, because the only set of financials they actually look at as a measurement of the school's financial success is what I've given to you tonight. But I have till September 30 to finish the rest of the stuff. So that's what I'll be doing between now and next week. So for your approval for tonight, this is what we're looking at. I've given you just a short summary on as a memo of the actual activity, comparing it from this year to last year. But then in your information that Sherry sent to you, you actually have what's called the balance sheet. And it has each of our funds, and they're labeled across the top as to what exactly they are. And then the second page is actually, it's called a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. So that's where you're going to see how much revenue actually came in by type, and then the expenditures classified by purpose or function overall. But function is like instruction, operation and maintenance, food service. So it's not the nitty-gritty detail. All of that information is rolled up into these function areas. But so that's the general overall of what you have before you. In addition to those two statements, you have these two have to be published in the newspaper as well as what's behind it. And that is your schedule, supplemental schedule of expenditures. So just to remind you, I have to publish each of your salaries that you earned for the last fiscal year, as well as the superintendent's. Everyone else's salary is just simply grouped in under the $6.2 million that was paid out for professional personnel and $2.5 million for service. But those individual salaries are not required to be published in the newspaper, only those of each of the board members and the superintendent. Behind that is a list of all checks over $250 that are non-salary related and not protected by FERPA or by privacy standards, meaning like employee travel checks. Those are not published either. So this totals a little over $4 million worth of check information that's being also released to the newspapers. So that'll be published upcoming here either within the next 2 weeks that will actually get published. Now, back to your balance sheet. Let's talk numbers. My favorite part. I know Raina's in on this. So she's the only one smiling. Yes, she's the only one smiling over here. Okay, so the most important number, I tried to highlight it. I don't know if it's showing up on your screen or not, but it's at the very bottom. It's on your general current expense. It's on the balance sheet. It's the very bottom highlighted number, and it's called your unassigned fund balance. So what that means is that after everything is said and done, you've got almost $3.4 million in discretionary money. After everything is spoken for that we've said that we were going to pay. So that's about a 26% carryover. So as far as our comparison into other boards, that's very good. So that's a very good number to be proud of. This is an increase of about $716,000 from last year. Now let's flip over and look at where everything came from. On your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the very first column, under revenues, you see we have property taxes, we have state sources, you have federal sources. Those all total to $13,596,617, and that's up about $1.1 million. So you're thinking, daggone, what happened? Well, we had an increase in state aid. That was about $773,000. Now, why? It's because there was a pay raise that year. It was about a $2,300 across the board pay raise, both professional and service. So naturally, we're dependent upon state aid, so we got a corresponding increase in state aid for that to cover that cost. We had an increase in tax revenues, about $242,000, and then our interest went up about $108,000. And if you'll remember, in last fiscal year, you allowed us to go with the Board of Investments in Charleston, and as a result of that, we've increased our interest significantly that we're earning. Now, on the expenditure side, overall, the expenses totaled almost $12.7 million. So it was $12,690,643. So that was an increase of about $1.2 million. And since we had a pay raise, most of it's up there in instruction. Moving along, over in your special revenue fund, that's the next fund over. This is what accounts for our grants, like our Title I, our special ed, Title II, and our food service program. So it had revenues of $3,386,263, and that's an increase of about $388,000 from the prior year, which is mainly in federal revenues. We got some different like school improvement monies that we didn't have before. We also had some additional special education grants that came in. Next is our special revenue school activity fund. And in that one, that is basically a summary of the activity as to what happened at the school level. In all, at the end of the year, they ended on your balance sheet with about $341,000 in cash at the schools. Activity-wise, they took in $462,000 in monies at the schools, and they expended $452,000. So their ending cash at the school is right now around $341,000. That's collectively with all three schools. The next fund that we discuss is the special revenue ESSERF. We have our federal monitoring tomorrow, and ESSERF is the big topic on it. This is what they're heavily looking at, and it ends on September 30. So we have to have, that's why all the changes in the budgets, try to get everything to come out to where we're going to balance out there at September 30. So within ESSERF, if you compare it to last year, this year we only had $553,000 in federal revenue. That's a decrease of almost $1.6 million from the previous year. And that's because we'd finished that HVAC project at the middle school. Capital projects, it's, we again put in $100,000 and we finished paying our overage for that HVAC project at the middle school of $19,860 out of that project this previous year. So that is an explanation on a very broad scale of all of the activity within each of the funds, 5 funds that we have. So in total, we're looking at approximately about $18 million in revenues, with an offset of about $17 million in expenses that we're going to be showing for this past year. So any questions?
At the top,
Yep.
what's highlighted, is that considered contingency money?
What's highlighted?
On the sheet you gave.
Yes, the $3,381,023. That is your unassigned fund balance. So that's your discretionary if to use at your pleasure. So
that is considered the contingency fund?
no,
Is that separate?
that's separate. If you see right above it, I have something that's called assigned fund balance, and of that $550,652 there, that $550,000 is what you allowed me to budget for reserve for contingency. So I have about $550,000 that's in contingency. So this 3.3, the board has not designated for a specific purpose at this point in time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When we were talking a bit ago,
Yes.
do we have any COVID money left over?
Yes, we do. There's approximately about $75,000 that I just put in back in the budget as a carryover from the prior fiscal year. And then of that, approximately 40 some odd thousand of it will go unspent. It will be returned back to the federal government, and that is probably the same story in each county and across the state because it was specified for a very specific purpose in after-school programs and or after-school enrichment, I think might have been the terminology. we took a run at it with after-school tutors and programs, but between lack of personnel and interest in that, we couldn't spend the 40,000 there. But the rest of it, we've got it taken care of.
30-some thousand then goes into included in the unassigned, or how does that go?
No, actually, all of your COVID money is over in that Fund 7-1. It's a special revenue. It's the ESSER fund. It's the fourth column to the right. That is where all the COVID money is accounted for.
Okay.
Karen, at the School Board Association meeting this past weekend, they had several of your compadres. They went over the finance stuff. I thought it was pretty good.
Good.
Not as well as you did, but I think the consensus was we were glad you were with us.
Well, thank you.
It wasn't very exciting.
Well, it's hard to make numbers are real exciting, but we get excited whenever they balance, don't we, Randall?
Yes,
Yes, we do.
that's a big deal.
Yes. And when we're off $2, that's a pain. Yeah. But, yes, so, but I still have a long ways to go. I mean, I still have to do the second set of financials, but this is the set that counts. But the second set I still have to get done. About 20 some odd counties actually pay to have an audit firm come in and do this second set. So they're ahead of me. And I'm like, yeah, you're not ahead of me. Yeah, you're cheating. So, but I still have to get that done. But I've got till September 30. So I got to get through tomorrow with the federal audit review that we have. And then I'll get back onto finishing this. So when we're done, this will be the size of the book. This is what it looked like last year. This is about what it will all entail, and I'll be more than glad to provide that to you at the next board meeting.
So, a question, Karen.
Yes, absolutely.
So, under the measures of financial success, under the unassigned general fund balance,
Yes,
so see, overall revenues are up by 1.1
in comparison to the prior year.
from last year,
Yes,
but expenses are up by 1.2.
yes, in
So-
comparison to the prior year.
Okay.
So it's all comparing to the prior year. But if you look at just revenues for this year in comparison to the expenses for this year, if you just look at that, the overall change was around 731,000. If you look at your general current expense, like total revenues, expenses, and then we had some transfers and these transfers are mainly where we are required to send our food service match over to the food service project. So those monies get accounted for over there. That portion of state aid is actually over there in that project. So once all that's said and done, it was around $731,000. This year's revenues standing with this year's expenditures.
$700,000 to the plus.
Correct. Absolutely.
So, can you say one more time if our revenues, if our expenditures went up higher than our revenues went up, how are we gaining to the plus? Is it from transfers that's not in these funds, or?
Well, the example of where I showed where our expenses are in relationship to those are all in comparison to the previous year. But if you look at your expenses and your revenues in comparison to just this year, we are actually at a plus of 731,000 if you just look at it that way. But the biggest change from last year to this year is the overall increase in state aid to help cover your salary costs and the increase in PIA, which was big. So it went up as well as the expenses did too.
And, okay. And then at the bottom, well, I say at the bottom line, the top line is the 3.3, and that's not.
That 3.3, it's called unassigned. So the board has not designated it. So it's essentially just sitting in a reserve account, reserve line item. So whenever you decide that we're going to do a bleacher replacement, for example, at the high school, that's where it's going to come from. So I'll move monies out of that account and put it up into bleacher replacement. So at this point, it is not budgeted up here for any particular line item purpose.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Any other questions for Mrs. Cummins? Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
We have a motion to approve the annual financial statement report for fiscal year 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to routine business. Number one, receive a motion to approve the contract for diagnostic testing services. So moved. Mr. Campbell.
So we have utilized these folks for some other testing with Jason Hickman and his program. But what we need some help with is the diagnostic testing that our local special ed teachers have done. Their schedules are getting tighter and tighter with the amount of kids that we're serving, and contracting with these folks will allow them to come in and do some of that diagnostic testing for kids that are in the process of qualifying for special education services.
And hopefully this will keep us on timeline.
And hopefully this will keep us on timeline.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the contract for diagnostic testing services. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to personnel matters. Need a motion to approve the resignation of Scott Bunch as girls' assistant basketball coach at Fort County High School, effective September the 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Mr. Kelly?
So his letter was in your packet. Appreciate all the coaching that he has done for us, and wish him well. I'm sure that he's still going to be at ball games and doing all of that, but he's done a good job for us, so I appreciate the time that he spent coaching.
Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to accept the resignation of Scott Bunch, girls' assistant basketball coach at Fort County High School, effective September 10th, 2024. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And now I need a motion to approve Tim Tony as assistant football coach at Fort County Middle School for 24-25 school year, effective immediately.
So moved.
Mr. Kelly.
This job has been posted for some time, and Kim bid on that. She is fully SSAC and WVDE certified for that, so it can start immediately upon your consideration tonight.
Questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Kim Tony, assistant football coach, Fort County Middle School, 2024-25 school year, effective immediately. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve Tracy Murray as special education bus aide for 24-25 school year, effective immediately.
So moved.
She was the successful bidder on this position, and she has helped us out in that capacity before.
Questions? Comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Tracy Murray as special education bus aide for the 24-25 school year, effective immediately. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve Pamela Wimbledon as extracurricular interventionist as needed for 24-25 school year, effective September 18th, 2024.
So moved.
So as you probably recall, this is the position that Becky Smith was in last year. She had resigned from that, and I'm happy that Pam Wendelken is willing to take on this position. So,
Questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Pamela Wimbledon, extracurricular interventionist as needed for 24-25 school year, effective September 18th, 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Need a motion to approve Misty McCulty, Cook 3, Warren County Primary Center, Warren County Middle School, effective September 18th, 2024.
So moved.
So this was the cook position vacated when Paula Burton took an aide position, and Misty McCulty is the successful bidder on that job.
What was Misty doing before?
She has been a substitute aide and a substitute cook.
Good deal. Any questions, comments? Here none. We have a motion to approve Misty McCulty as Cook 3, Warren County Primary Center, Warren County Middle School, effective September 18th, 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. We have a motion to approve Nancy Boyce as temporary Cook 3 at Primary Center Middle School, effective September 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Okay, this is the long-term sub position we have from the FMLA vacancy in the kitchen, and Nancy Boyce is the successful bidder on that position.
Any questions, comments? Here none. We have a motion to approve Nancy Boyce as temporary Cook 3, Warren County Primary Center, Warren County Middle School, effective September 18th, 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now, I need a motion for approve Samantha Delaney as temporary pre-K supervisory aide to ECAT, pay grade E, Warren County Primary Center, effective September 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Okay, this is the other long-term vacancy that we have in Samantha, in the pre-K aide position, and Samantha Delaney is the successful bidder in that position.
Questions, comments?
Why is it a temporary position, not a?
Because this is a leave of absence from FMLA. So you remember we did a couple of FMLAs a few board meetings back. So this is a long-term sub position until that employee returns.
Okay.
Any other questions? Here none, we have a motion to approve Samantha Delaney, temporary pre-K supervisory aide to ECAT, pay grade E, Warren County Primary Center, effective September 18th, 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve Tim Lynch as temporary custodian 3, Class C, Warren County Middle School, and that is from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., effective September 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Mr. McKenna?
Again, this is another vacancy that we have, and if it's going to be over 30 days, vacant for over 30 days, we have to post for a long-term sub position, and Tim Lynch was the successful bidder on that position.
And he was already employed by us, so now we'll post his.
Well, he's a substitute,
okay.
as custodian. Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Any
this,
other questions?
this is also to fill an FMLA slot?
Well, it's a medical vacancy, not FMLA.
Okay.
Any other questions? Here none. We have a motion to approve Tim Lynch as temporary custodian 3, Class C, Warren County Middle School, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., effective September 18th, 2024. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And then we need a motion to approve James Kale as assistant boys basketball coach, Warren County Middle School, pending WVSSAC coursework and WVDE certification.
So moved.
Mr. McKenna.
So he has completed the WVSSAC coursework, and his Form 39 WVDE certification is in the hopper and being processed. So he should be fully good to go within a day or so.
Any questions, comments? Here none. We have a motion to approve James Kale as assistant boys basketball coach, Warren County Middle School, pending WVSSAC coursework and WVDE certification. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve Joshua Moss as substitute teacher for 24-25 school year effective immediately.
So moved.
Mr.
So we have already hired him as a substitute teacher. He's an employee that works for us in another capacity, but he is a certified, has a short-term sub permit with the degree that he has, and occasionally will sub for us. But he did not turn his paper back in to Heather Myers at the beginning or last spring for her to bring that list of subs that want to continue for the next year. So I'm asking you to approve him this evening.
Questions, comments? Hear none. We have a motion to approve Joshua Moss as substitute teacher for the 24-25 school year effective immediately. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, then volunteers and chaperones. We have A through L, and I will take them as one motion unless there is anybody you would like to take separately. Okay, need a motion to approve volunteers and chaperones for 24-25 school year. And those people will be Heather Murray, Ward County High School, Leah Everbaum, Middle School, High School, Buddy Winnell, Middle School, High School, Kelsey Means, Primary Center, Middle School, Kara McAtee, Primary Center, Middle School, Yogi Peterman, High School, Sierra Dawson, Primary Center, Lacey Rader, Primary Center, Kylie Drake, High School, Jessica Poole, Middle School, Matthew Cooper, High School, and Peggy Spencer, Primary Center, Middle School, and High School. That motion.
So moved.
Any questions, comments, anything we need done this weekend?
Nope.
Peggy needs to go on as substitute teacher.
She does indeed.
Okay.
She does indeed.
Tons of experience there. Maybe she'll do that. We can sure use it. Okay. No other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion to approve volunteer chaperones 24-25 school year. Heather Murray, High School, Leah Everball, Middle School, High School, Buddy Winnell, Middle School, High School, Kelsey Means, Primary Center, Middle School, Kara McAtee, Primary Center, Middle School, Yogi Peterman, High School, Sierra Dawson, Primary Center, Lacey Rader, Primary Center, Kylie Drake, High School, Jessica Poole, Middle School, Matthew Cooper, High School, and Peggy Spencer, Primary Center, Middle School, and High School. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to board concerns. Mr. Stewart.
No.
Good. Ms. Schiller.
Yeah, so this, between last meeting and this meeting, we had the all call about the security issue and the threats. Had several parents ask me what are we doing anything differently going forward since there were threats out there to try to prevent if anything were to happen.
So I am meeting next week with the company to look to update our camera systems to where it would do facial recognition for people coming in. So if they were a criminal or they had something, it's running a background check basically on them in real time. And then if somebody were to pull a gun, it recognizes that and then contacts law enforcement immediately. So I think it would be a good thing to have. It's just going to come down to how much does it cost and is it feasible to do. I think several other counties in the state have put this into place.
It's pretty amazing.
Say again?
It's pretty amazing. I saw a thing on it, and the person walked into the beginning of school and actually did not have the gun out, but that camera recognized the outline of something. And it was pretty, it was better than you and I.
And are the things that cause that all alert, or what's the...
So Homeland Security has not deemed any credible threat from that yet. I don't know that they have everything traced back to exactly where that came from, but we did have a conference call with Homeland Security. I've been in contact with Don Brown, who's the state school safety officer who's kind of the liaison between Homeland Security and us. And I would like to thank local and state law enforcement for spending a lot of time here on Thursday and Friday. I think they were out Monday as well. So the Department of Homeland Security is working on that.
Mr. McKinley, it's my understanding that we had nothing that came through our switchboards.
No. So the only thing that we were involved in is we were on a list of high schools that probably had 50 high schools on it. Some of those schools had been closed some time ago, but basically it just said it was made a threat to all of those schools on that list. And that's the only threat that I have seen that we were specifically named.
Okay. Well, if we get any recommendations that things that we could do to improve security, while this is fresh in everyone's mind and why there's money in the account that's unbudgeted, it would be the perfect time to make those improvements now instead of being in the bad position where after something terrible could have happened, second guessing why we didn't do it then.
Now, that's why I'm having that meeting next Monday.
Mr. Young,
I'm good.
I really don't have anything besides, I think this is okay to say. If not, somebody will tell me. But I know that we have, out there, we had 3 people that have signed up to run for board, or, run for board to see that Mrs. Young is off kind of promoted. And I just personally wanted to invite those people to come to our board meetings and see our operations and what's going on, because one of them's going to serve.
Yep, absolutely.
So if they're out there and they hear me, please, you're welcome to come. Come and sit and listen to what's going on. We encourage you to do that. Okay, with that, I do not have anything either. We had a pretty good meeting at the School Board Association. Most of it was excellent. Some of them not so much, but most of it was excellent.
Say meeting or eating?
The eating was always excellent. Yeah. So anything pretty good there, Mr. McKenna?
Now, I will bring back that extracurricular contract as recommended by the board next time.
Okay, with that being said, our next meeting is October 4th, 2024. Cafeteria here at cafeteria, 6 o'clock. I believe we're already in October. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.